There are some organized religions that believe everyone is a sinner and that salvation depends upon how sincerely a person follows the rules of their religion and how strongly they believe in a particular god, godly individual, holy book, dogma, or object. In some extreme religious groups, conformity is enforced with severe penal codes, including the death penalty for anyone who quits their religion or disrespects their religion, religious book, or holy people. While some organized religions threaten heretics with being thrown into a fiery lake of burning sulfur, the Vedic path does not penalize straying seekers, but rather guides them towards a better understanding of the God principle of the all-pervading Brahman. The question of superiority or inferiority of any being does not arise, since the self in every being is the same all-pervading Brahman. Organized religions separate God from the rest. The basic principle in some major organized religions of the world is that God is a separate being who is outside of creation. As per the philosophy of the Upanishads, Brahman is not separate, but is the all-pervading and the underlying principle of everything that exists and does not exist. In Shloka 9:17 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitamahaha vedyam pavitram omkara riksama yajurevacha. I am the father of this world, the mother, the dispenser of the fruits of actions, and the grandsire, the one thing to be known, the purifier, the sacred Om, and also the Rig, Yajur, and the Samavedas. And in Shloka 10:20, Krishna says, Ahamatma gurakesha sarvabhutashaya stitaha ahamadischa madhyam cha bhutanamanta evacha. I am the Self, O Arjuna, situated within all living entities. I am the origin, the middle, and also the end of all beings. The Supreme Teacher, Jagadguru Krishna, who is the personification of the indefinable, unimaginable, all-pervading, omnipotent, and omnipresent Brahman, is the Self in all beings. This knowledge should help people realize their own divinity. It would also be of utmost importance to bear in mind that the Self, the mind, and the body are different from one another. The mind, which gives rise to the I thought, the ego, and the attachment to one's own body, is the one that blocks a person from realizing their own divinity. It, in fact, forces people to deny or even reject such a non-dualistic thought, leading them to become gullible victims of cults, sects, subsects, charlatans, fake religious people, and fraudulent astrologers. Krishna teaches Arjuna ways to learn to realize his self and perform righteous action with honesty, sincerity, devotion, and social responsibility, and asks him to use his own judgment and act as he wishes. Towards the end of his discourse, in Shloka 1863, Krishna tells Arjuna, I have taught you the secret wisdom, which is deeper than all that is confidential and profound. Reflect fully on what I have declared to you and do what you wish to do. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita is not a book of commandments, but one with a dialectical discourse in the form of a dramatic dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. The scenario of war allegorically represents the war between the positive and negative forces within everyone. The deep metaphor of the scripture makes the philosophy timeless and applicable to the lives of anyone and everyone, no matter their age, ethnicity, gender, social status, or religious belief. Reading and understanding the Srimad Bhagavad Gita frees the seeker's mind from the debilitating feeling of living a life that is controlled by external forces, by deities, planets, or religious people. Just as it takes a talented sculptor to see a figure in a rock, which they then sculpt out, it is a person with a knowledge of the self who is able to discern between their body, mind, and divine self. The following shlokas explain how one can recognize their own divinity and attain the divine nature of Krishna. Shloka 1327. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsva vinashyantam yah pashyati sapashyati. The person who truly sees is the one who sees the Supreme Soul or Supreme Bhagavan existing equally in all beings, the unperishing within the perishing. Shloka 1820. Sarva bhuteshu yenekam bhavam avyayamikshate avibhaktam vibhakteshu tadjnanam vaytti sattvikam. The knowledge by which one sees the one indestructible reality in all beings, although divided in countless forms, is said to be sattvic or pure. Shloka 1851. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya-cha shabdadin vashayan tyaktva ragadvesho yudasya-cha. 1852. Vivikta sevi lagvashi yatavakaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritaha. 1853. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimucya nirmamahashanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. 1851-53. The one with a pure intellect, who controls his mind with determination, relinquishes sense objects beginning with sound, gives up attachment and hatred, takes to solitude, reduces food to just what is necessary, has his speech, body and mind completely under control, has his mind always engaged in concentration and meditation, takes refuge in dispassion, abandons egoism, false pride, violence, lust, anger and possessiveness, and becomes peaceful, is a person who is fit to attain Brahman or superconsciousness. 1854. Brahma bhuta prasannatma nashochati nakangshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. Having become one with Brahman, a person becomes serene in the self, does not lament or desire, and is the same to all beings. It is in that state that a person attains supreme devotion unto me. 1419. Naanyam guNebhyaha kartaaram yadaa drashtaanu-pashyati guNebhyash-cha param vaytti madbhaavam sodhigacchati. The one who recognizes the Gunas alone as the agent in all actions and treats the self to be above the Gunas achieves my divine nature. Rise above the Gunas. No one is good or bad because the self in all beings is the same. It is the Gunas in them that cause action. True knowledge of the divine self is the ideal way out of being under the control of the Gunas. As opposed to dualistic religions and cults in which likening oneself to God would be considered blasphemous, the ultimate goal of the Vedas is Vedanta, that asserts the realization of Brahman and one's own divinity. 246. Yavanartha udapane sarvatah samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanas vijanatah. What purposes are served by one small reservoir can be served by one large lake entirely filled with water. Similarly, a man of realization attains the purpose that all the Vedas serve. Why is it that seekers are advised to give up attachments to worldly objects. It is because attachments and the habit of holding on to impermanent things are sure to cause pain and frustration. Life flows. Everything flows. Nothing stops. That's nature. Our planet, too, is constantly rotating around its axis as it hurtles through infinite nothingness or space at a speed of about 1,700 kilometers an hour. Attempting to hold on to material objects and situations amounts to going against nature or trying to block or stop it. It is simply impossible to win over nature by defying it or by opposing it. Flow along with nature and attain bliss. The body, the mind, and everyone in life change. Birth, childhood, youth, old age, and death are natural processes which cannot be stopped by holding on to them. What does not change is the pure divine self in you and in all beings. Despite the fact that the mind is not a physical organ and nothing more than a pattern of thought relating to one's character, attitude, general nature, experience, and knowledge, it is an impostor that pretends to be the self. The intrinsic divinity and intellect of a person are easily shrouded by a veil of illusion created by an untamed and untrained mind. For those of you who have not read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, I don't refer to WhatsApp forward, but to the original 700 shlokas in 18 chapters. My suggestion would be to do it as soon as possible. By doing so, you will be free from fears, worries, and other negative states of mind, and that will certainly change your life for the better. Rise above ignorance, self-doubt, and realize your own divinity. Strive to lead a righteous life, and staying true to your conscience, ensure that whatever you do with no attachment, sense of agency or ownership is your offering unto Krishna, who ultimately is the self in you. Tattvamasi, that you are. Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Krishna.